I am doing the work to be awakened, but life confronts me and I feel uncertain about my responses. And after conflict, I feel uneasy and insecure. I guess I was expecting to feel peaceful. Is this common? Conflict is a conflict of the mind, right? Conflict is a perception of where you're at versus where someone else is at. And so it's a discord in thinking. But I think the most important part is to think about what is the lesson that was in it for me in this conflict. Sometimes we get too stuck on like digging into all the details of the conflict, which can be good because sometimes when we peel the layers back of like, well, why did that feel like conflict? We get some of the pearls. Think about it from a what am I going to learn from the conflict? And were there things that I needed to say that person didn't need to hear? Or are there things that, keep it very centered on you? Because when we start thinking about the other person, it can get really tricky. If you stay centered in you and what it is that you were feeling, what is it that you needed to say? What is it that you needed to be seen for? And if you weren't seen for that, let it go. Just let it go, because it's your lesson and that person has their lesson, and they're different lessons. They're different things that are being brought to the table. Number one, everyone always wants to be seen. Both sides want to be seen, and that's what causes the conflict. Everybody wants to be seen for exactly where they are. And sometimes we're in our own lens of where we are. And so it's always like seek first to understand before being understood. Hear what someone needs before giving them advice. It's that kind of like, just like, let's just take a breath and just take a step back. And if the energies aren't quite aligned, say, oh gosh, I get it. Like the energies aren't quite aligned here. And I'm going to step back and I'm going to just touch base with myself. And I'm going to touch base with that person and say, hey, where are you at? How are you feeling? Like, what's going on with you? And that might dissolve what turned into a conflict before it turns into a conflict. Because then you'll have an idea of like, where is that person? Hopefully that's helpful. I so love that we are having all these conversations here. If you want to go deeper into topics like this and expanded states of consciousness, I have the special promotion that I was talking about earlier in the show before I got mysteriously cut off. And it's the Awaken Inner Wisdom membership. You are with me live for 4 sessions a month. We dive deep into topics and we expand broad. So if you are someone who has and loves these spiritual conversations and wants to know more about who you really are, really bring in a curated group of people who are ready to step forward. $33 a month instead of the $133. So you're going to save $100 a month if you sign up. You have to apply, so you still have to go through the application process. And Spirit Universe is guiding me on the people that are really ready for this level of transmission and this level of learning. And so I'm super excited for you to experience this. You might want to go on to bethbell.me and take the State of the Heart assessment. It'll give you an idea of where your heart is. There's 4 different stages that we talk about. There's definitely some tips, tools, techniques, and modalities that you'll get for free. When you fill out the assessment, you'll get very specifically to you what state you're in, the state of the heart, and some guidance on that. And I can't wait to have you experience it and get some juicy nuggets for yourself. There's lots of ways we can work together. Keep joining the show. Ask your questions. If you didn't get to ask a question today live, please type it in the comments, or you can go over to bethbell.me/question and you'll be able to submit your question there. Now, with that said, I don't want to not mention that we have Angels, Herpes, and Psychedelics, my book, Unravel the Mind to Unveil Illusions. I go deep into my own life stories and provide a ton of tips, tools, techniques, and modalities that I used. And then if you love that, you may want to dive right into the Awakening and Healing Handbook. I go into all the modalities of which I talk about in the book, but in a much deeper way. I give lots of recommendations. It's a great guide. It really can help you expand quickly. And there's also the Psychedelic Resource Guide. So if you have any bit of you that's curious about spiritual medicines, you can dive into the Psychedelic Resource Guide, or maybe you have loved ones that are doing it. You're like, I don't know why they're doing this. I want to learn more. Well, I would invite you to go to bethbell.me and check out the Psychedelic Resource Guide, because you'll find some really great nuggets in there. Okay, and on bethbell.me, we have the Herpes Handbook, which is very specifically about herpes, but it's also about getting rid of virus shame, right? And it's about just the viruses of the mind in general, reframing how we think about things in this world. Like, you know, this comes to me a lot, but the lesson in the Bible about lepers, right? It's like this whole guilt and shame thing that can come from so many different things. You know, it was AIDS at one point. It's the herpes virus. It's the COVID virus, right? So there's lots of different things that come into this shame. And so it's all about releasing that. And so that guide is also amazing. You don't have to have herpes to want the guide. You may know someone, you may encounter a new partner, and it's really a way to just get you into understanding and reframing some of these really difficult life situations. Thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate you watching live. Ask questions on bethbell.me/question. You can put them in the comments here. And I can't wait to see you again next week, Sundays at 11 Pacific time. And until then, wishing you much bliss and love on the journey. Namaste. The Awaken Inner Wisdom membership is a fee-based system. And I want to offer a very, very, very special price between now and the end of July. So you have to act quickly. $33 a month instead of the $133. So you're going to save $100 a month if you sign up. You have to apply, so you still have to go through the application process. And Spirit Universe is guiding me on the people that are really ready for this level of transmission and this level of learning. And so I'm super excited for you to experience this.